age, there we go, can join me up here in the Jeep seats so they can see what we're doing. And I'm so excited to be with you as always. It's such a beautiful day. This is one of the days when my childhood Catholic self used to get in trouble because I used to ask questions like, why do we go inside a building people made to appreciate the world that our higher power made? I'm confused. And then people would tell me to stop asking so many questions. You can kind of see why I ended up here, right? Yeah, for sure. So I have been thinking this morning because Jacqueline and I just figured out something really cool, which is that the first day of Reverend Josh's visit is, in fact, May the 4th. And he seems like a minister who could get down with an imaginary Star Wars holiday that we all really enjoy celebrating. So, how many people here enjoy science fiction and fantasy? See, right, I know, you're my people. My first Christmas here, 3 different people walked in different ugly Christmas sweaters representing different fandoms, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be fine. I'm in the right spot. And one of the things that hit me this morning, I was sitting here thinking about this, and a lot of us, a lot of the science fiction and fantasy that we love so much is what you call dystopian, which is, here's a world that's really, really messed up. What are we gonna do about it? And in fact, I once had a BIPOC youth say to me, dystopian fiction is really kind of like white people saying, what if this happened to us? And I think that's also a pretty valid interpretation. And so, like, if you're a kid and you're like, I have no idea what that means, my parents don't let me watch The Hunger Games, then how many people here have seen WALL-E? Okay, so WALL-E at the beginning of the movie is dystopian. And then at the end of the movie, it starts to be something else, a genre that we often call solar punk. Oh, was that where you were going, Patrick? Yeah, maybe utopian, yeah, is another good word for it, because solar punk does tend to be like this very positive future where we've learned to live in harmony with nature in new ways, and where we've found a balance between technology and nature that actually works for both technology and nature, right? We are not there now. We know we are not there now. But I did want to share a story with you that I really love called The Curious Garden that I think is a little bit more, maybe a little less punk, but definitely solar. So, and you can kind of see that at the beginning, it isn't there yet. So, there once was a city without gardens or trees or greenery of any kind. Most people spent their time indoors. As you can imagine, it was a very dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside. Even on drizzly days, while everyone else stayed inside, you could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway, as he did from time to time, when he stumbled upon a dark stairwell leading up from the track to the tracks. Now, the railroad, in case you're feeling anxious right now, had stopped working long ago. And since Liam had always wanted to explore the tracks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out onto the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wildflowers and plants were the last thing he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned, and he had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. Most gardeners stay in one place. Whoop. Did Sarah advance too many times? No, Sarah put the slides in out of order. I hope you will all forgive me, or missed one. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. With miles of open railway ahead of it, the garden was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up farther and farther down the tracks and were closely followed by more delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the curious garden explored every corner of the railway. Now, after spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Boo. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he'd become a gardener, Liam could not visit the plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Liam spent it preparing for spring. After 3 cold months, the snow finally began to melt, and Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken a toll on the garden, but thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and that spring it was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and mosses set out first. They popped up farther and farther from the railway and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. The garden was especially curious about old, forgotten things. A few plants popped up where they didn't belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But the most surprising things that popped up were the new gardeners. We don't need any words for this part. We just get to enjoy it. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed. But of all the new gardens, Liam's favorite was where it had all begun. Looks pretty different now, huh? So as always, I will leave this up here so that people who might want to look at it during coffee hour can come up and take a peek. And now we are going to make our way out to our religious exploration small groups, most of which are going to be outside at some point today, because I know that's my next question.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips speak truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
We're in for a treat. Our guest speaker today is one of our own. It is Ray Wilson. He is a founding member of this church. He has been very involved with the buildings since its inception and a very active member on the Greens Committee. I welcome Ray to share some words.
Now I'm embarrassed. Well, in case you didn't know it, we have a reputation here in the city, around the state, and even beyond our state. And it's because of what we've been able to accomplish in the area of environmental sustainability. This morning, we're going to review what we've been doing and celebrate a bit, and then also mention a few things that are still needing to be done. Oh, thank you, Bob. We didn't need those lights, did we? Good. For you on Zoom, we just turned the lights down because we don't need lights. The sun's quite bright in here. Thanks again. Well, 2 things have been guiding us in this work. The first one is that we need to fulfill our Paris pledge for UUI to become a fossil fuel-free area. hard to say those four or three together. So, and the second thing is we want to do all of this so that we save money for UUI in the long run. So keep those things in mind. I'm now going to take you through sort of, I hope it's not boring, but a list of all the things we've been doing for the last 17 years. It all really started in 2006 when the congregation chartered a team of 10 people to help us get an accreditation as a green sanctuary from our national organization, the UUI. And 2 years later, by golly, we did it. And then so we sat around for about 5 years and thought, well, what do we do next? But in 2013, we had the opportunity to go with 5 other congregations, 4 in Bloomington and two of us here in Indianapolis, to get a $150,000 grant for putting solar panels on our buildings. And so we got $25,000, and some others of us kicked in a little bit of money, so we had $7,000 more, and we put on our first 10 kW system of solar panels on our cottage roof. But there was one requirement for this grant. In addition to putting solar panels on, we had to reduce our consumption of energy by at least 25% over the next 3 years. So the first thing we did that very year is we bought Wi-Fi thermostats for all our buildings, and we made a serious decision about, well, how can these really help us? And we decided that in the wintertime, when there's no one in a building, the thermostats will be set at 50 degrees. In the summertime, when there's no one in the buildings, they'll be set at 85 degrees. And so today, we still do this. And it's made a huge difference in our electric bills. Well, then again, and also in 2013, we sealed and insulated the roof of our social hall. I want to tell stories, but I can't have time to. Anyway, then in 2014, we did the same thing to the cottage roof. There's this much insulation over there at this point. And that same year, wouldn't you know it, the big HVAC unit on top of our roof here went kaput, so we had to replace it. But instead of putting another gas furnace up there, we bought a 10-ton heat pump. Then in 2015, the board made a bold decision. They did, in fact, sign this Paris Pledge, which said that this was actually before COP21 in Paris. And they said, we are committing to reduce our consumption of, or our emission of carbon dioxide on this campus to 0 as soon as we can. So that 2015 date started us on a journey to replace light bulbs. LED light bulbs were just becoming available at that point. And between then and 2012, we figure we installed 500 LED light bulbs. And believe it or not, we're not done yet. We have a room over in that building that still needs to have LED light bulbs installed. Then in 2018, the state government passed a law that said net metering for solar panels was going to go away at the end of that year. It was 2017. We finally got ours installed in 2018. And all those solar panels out there cost us $108,500. But the beautiful part about it was that the congregation dug into their pockets and came up with $100,000. So it cost us as church only $8,500 out of our treasury. In 2019, we installed new windows in the cottage building over here. And that building, by the way, is over 100 years old. Also, let's see, I got it right here. Then we added insulation to the ceiling of the RE building. And we installed new doors on the south side of the Commons building. And for those of you who don't even know, there's another building over there. We got new doors on that. And Wouldn't you know, that's the very same building, we needed a new air conditioner on that, so we decided, no, we're not going to put a new air conditioner in, so we installed a heat pump there. In 2022, we decided we'll have an outside firm come in and do an audit for us and see what they see that we didn't look for. And that cost us $3,500, but we found a grant that covered that cost. So in 2022, also we made a very big investment. That building over there that we call it the RE building has really big windows, all single pane, and the congregation said, we're going to spend $32,000 and put new insulated windows in there. And it's made a big difference. That building that you can't see, we keep referring to as the Commons, when it was built, had no insulation in the roof. The roof was made out of 3-inch boards, and that was the insulation. So we ended up coming up with a plan to put 4 inches of styrofoam up in that ceiling. So we went from a resistance of 3 to 23 in that ceiling. And we actually got a small grant from Faith in Place for $3,200 to help to pay for that. We started getting sort of nitty-gritty at this point. We started putting little insulation and all these little runs that come from your house that go to your outside air conditioners that all looks ratty. We replaced that. We went around to every door on the campus and we put insulation and weather stripping around all of them. That building, again, we put brand new doors on the north side with insulation in them. And we insulated the dungeon, better known as the teacher's lounge, better known as the stairs that go into the east side of that building that is just a hollow big space down there, and now it has insulation in it. In 2024, in addition to what I just mentioned, we came to church, I don't know if any of you remember, it was 10 below zero. And we thought, well, what a better time to go out and take an infrared camera and just walk around and take pictures of all our buildings to see if we can see where there are any hot spots where we might be able to find places for some more insulation. That same year in the summer, we needed a new air conditioner and furnace in this cottage building. So instead of doing the normal thing, we bought a cold climate heat pump. And so that's running that building at this point. To get enough electricity to that building, we had to get some more electricity in there for that heat pump. So we hired a firm and they took a boring machine and they bored pipes underneath the building, so all our buildings are connected at this point, so we can pull different wires from building to building as we need to. And so we now have in the RE building, we've taken the trouble to take out all the electric panel in that building and put in a new panel so we can get a three-phase electric system over there. That's not quite finished yet, but it's all set up so that when we get around to it, we can pull a wire over there and be in business. You can imagine at this point we were getting pretty deep into this, and so we have installed something called IotaWatt so that we can actually look at our computers and say, well, we know that heat pump's running and it's using resistance heat. Why is it using resistance heat? Well, we don't know, but we can now at least know that it's happening and we can start to do something about it. In 2005, you probably don't know this, but we spent a lot of money on water we didn't use because we had a leak. And it was a leak inside one of our buildings, and we didn't know it. Anyway, so we found out that we needed to be better stewards of our water system. So we now have some little water meters on 3 of our buildings where we'll get an alert. If there's water being running in the middle of the night, we should know about it, and it'll tell us that something's going on. So we have that. That's called Droplet. Anyway, so that's basically where we are at the moment. Now I want to share with you what the results look like. So Remember, our goal is to get rid of carbon dioxide. Well, we reduced our carbon dioxide emissions by 64%. This is from 2008. We went from 96 tons of carbon dioxide a year to 35. We get our numbers and report our numbers through a system at EPA called Energy Star. And our Energy Star score improved by 83%. In 2008, it was 47, and now it's 86. And this is a comparison to all the other religious organizations who are part of this program across the country. 100 is the maximum you can get, so we're sitting at 86. You're getting recognition when you get over 75, so we're doing well. How much electricity do you think we made? We made 425,000 kilowatt hours of electricity with our solar panels since we've had them. The last time I checked, that's worth roughly $57,000. It's hard to, electricity bills and water bills keep going up, so it's hard to, I picked a number sort of in the middle to come up with that $57,000. We reduced our water consumption, this was a surprise to me, by 48%. We went from 289,000 gallons a year to now we're sitting at about 151,000. That's a big difference. And the thing that's exciting about that is you pay a lot more for sewer bills based on your water bill. So as that goes down, the other goes down. So we reduced our energy consumption by 57%. Remember, our goal was 25%, so we blew past that. And there's still a little bit more we can do. By the way, our cost of our utilities in 2008 was $16,690, and in today's dollars, that would be about $25,000. And last year, our utility bills on campus were $3,300. So to top this off, then, in 17 years, we basically saved twice what we invested from our savings, from our church budgets. Doesn't mean that $100,000 is not figured into that, but out of our budgets, we've saved something like, cut it in half, essentially. Okay, so we have a challenge ahead. We still have 8 mini fossil fuel plants right here on this campus. We have 5 gas furnaces, we have 2 gas ranges, and we have 1 gas water heater. So to meet our goal, we've got to get rid of all of those and replace them with heat pumps and induction ranges. Here's the plan. We're going to keep working on our conservation work. We were just gifted 20 solar panels by the Pike Township Fire Department. And we're going to put 16 of those, adding them onto the solar panels we have out here. So we're going to try to build up some more electricity credit with the AES Indiana so that when next winter comes, we don't have to dip into our money to pay for electricity. I was hoping to make a big announcement here this morning, and it's going to have to be tailored a bit. We know we're going to get a sizable grant from IU Resiliency Institute for putting 1 heat pump in our RE building. We don't know how much that money is going to be. We don't know exactly when it's going to be. It's been going on for at least 6 months, but we are now having meetings coming up this next week. We're meeting with contractors. So anyway, that's probably going to be the first place we move. And I guess the last thing I'd say as far as our future plans is to alert you, our friends and family, that it's going to be your opportunity to help us reach our goal of installing these heat pumps. And we now have set up in the congregation this capital reserve fund So when it's time, we're probably going to make it known to you, well, not probably, we will make it known to you that we need some money, and we'll let you know how much money we're looking at as far as finishing up this project to get us totally fossil-free on the campus. So I'd like to recognize some of the people who are here today who have helped do all this work. So if you're here, I'm going to say your name. Please stand up. I'm going to give you a little bit of a recognition. So Pierre Madar, Jim Olson, Peter Langowski, Mark Walsh, Bob Lipford, Raymond Lorenz, Lane Hodak, and Bob Blake. Stand up, stand up. You all don't know how blessed I am, we are, with this crew. I go to other congregations and give talks sort of like this and brag about us, and they'll say, "You have an engineer?" And I say, "Yeah, we have a whole bunch of engineers, and they're really willing and they're really good. You know, they know what's going on." So I can't say how wonderful it's been. We also have to give some handout or gratitude to our staff who live in these buildings. They manage to put up with people like me who say, "Well, you can put a blanket over your legs, you know." Mara, our office manager, every day practically she looks at the thermostats, and you can't believe what she finds sometimes. How can they be not at 80 or 85 or 50 and there's nobody in there? So she's really a key person in helping us meet that goal. And then, of course, it's the commitment by you as our congregation with your money and your thoughtfulness about how you use our buildings. You know, this is, you know, little exercise with Bob turning the lights off. That's what it's all about. Every little bit helps, and you all have a chance to make a difference. Okay, I guess I'll say we can make this goal, and I'm going to change the subject right now. We have, as the Green Team, been asking you to take a survey, and we have gotten the survey, and you've gotten a handout. You might want to take that along home with you and look at it. You don't have to look at it now. I think it says there are 82 families. I think it's actually 81 took the survey, and we can tell from that survey that you all you get the message. We can do things. You are already doing some things. And I'm just going to give you some really quick highlights here. So there are quite a number of us who actually do eat vegan, vegetarian meals. And of course, the more the better. We had that last time we had a congregational dinner. You remember, it was all vegan and vegetarian, and it was good. So that's one thing we're going to help you work on a bit. The next one is something we just have to do. It has to do with our energy, where we buy our energy. Anybody who's in Marion County buys your electricity from AES Indiana. And 32% of you said you already buy green power, which our campus does as well. 39, almost 40% of you said you don't buy green electricity, and 15% of you said you weren't sure. Well, tomorrow, you should get in touch with AES Indiana and say, "I want to buy 100% of my electricity as green power." It'll cost you $2 or $3 extra a month, and all of a sudden, your whole carbon emissions from your family have disappeared. It's just that simple. So that's my big pitch for the day. So another thing, you also sent us some information about what makes sustainable practices difficult for you. Well, we talked about time and capacity. We sort of linked that together. Yeah, we're all busy. We have lots of stuff. We have to figure out how we can tuck some more things in that we can do. Every little bit helps. Housing constraints. I'm not sure what that means, other than perhaps you live in an apartment and you can't do some things, or you live in a forest and you put out solar panels. Cost is always a big one. Cost, of course, we're talking if you're going to have to buy, or if you want to buy a new car or a used car, EVs are a good choice. They do cost money. Solar panels are great. We can attest to that. I'm going to go to the next slide, which is what could the Green Team do to help you? Well, we can provide you with practical information, and we've got a couple ideas how to do that. You just have to pay attention when they come out at you. You're also interested in are there any rebates or incentives that you can help? We'll definitely let you know about that. And I like the one thing you talked about, can we do some things as a congregation and we'll have a special effort in some area that we can work together, and maybe, just maybe, we could get the whole community around us to do some of the same things. So, you've seen what we've been working on. We invite you to share your expertise, your talent, your passion for this work ahead. We aren't there yet. We want to get there as soon as possible. I'd love to go out and brag about us. So get involved. And remember, we didn't even talk at all about the opportunity for stewardship on our campus. It came up earlier in the service today. We've got lots of opportunities right here. So pitch in, get involved. We have lots of things to do. Let's make this campus a special place. I think that's all I've got for you. Thank you for listening.